what's going on, guys? Welcome back. It is 105 degrees and I picked the worst day to shoot this video, but we are going to be talking about the topper tent today. A lot of you have been asking me about it. A lot of you have been asking me if it's a good buy. Is it better than a ground tent? Is it better than an RTT? How I felt about it, using it for the past 6-7 months. I'm going to answer it all right now. The topper tent is made here in the USA. I believe it's Colorado. All ripstop material. The zippers are all YKK. Haven't had any issues with tracking with these zippers. Haven't had any rips with the material. It's been a-okay. So installation is super easy. These are actually made for toppers that are carpet lined. So you're just supposed to stick it onto the carpet all the way up through here. But with the GFC, there's no carpet in here. So what I had to do is get some Velcro adhesive, then line the whole outside part of my topper and the bed. And then it just works as usual how it would if it was I kind of lost my train of thought, but I had to move the party home because it was so hot, my camera kept turning off. So I think it's a good time to show you guys how this whole thing's kind of set up. I think what I was saying earlier was the topper tent's made for toppers that are carpet lined. Obviously the GFC isn't. It's all of this material that's up here, and then the aluminum outside, and then the aluminum frame. Everything is obviously not carpet lined. So what I did was I just got a bunch of this Velcro adhesive and I lined the whole outside, and that's how I installed it. Like I was saying, installation is super easy, super straightforward. When you're not using it, it's rolled up, tucked up if you want to, and just rip it off the Velcro, tuck it somewhere in your garage, and you don't gotta worry about it anymore. So I'm gonna tell you guys the bad stuff first, the cons, because if I tell you guys the positives first, you might just take all the good stuff without hearing the bads and then just cut out of the video. So we're gonna start with the bad news. That being said, there isn't too much bad news. One thing I did notice, really notice, was, I don't know if it's just because the GFC is super sealed, but once everything's down, closed, the condensation in the truck is insane. Me, Kay, Theo slept in the back of the truck last time we went to Khyber's, and by the time we woke up, all the frame was dripping with water. It was disgusting. It was super hot, super humid inside there. So condensation is pretty bad. I found out that if you crack the tent, just like a little bit of the tent open and then stick it to some Velcro or something like that, just keep this much of the tent open. It really helps with condensation. I brought it out last time we went camping and I did that, cracked it a little bit, and it was good, zero condensation. So another bad thing that you get with this, it's not fully tied down because I'm kind of lazy, but you get a lot of this in the wind. And that's pretty normal with any kind of tent, depending on what kind of tent you have. But this does get super loud. The way that I fix it is I take all my bags, my duffel bag, my camera bags, and I push them up against this. So it pulls it forward and it pretty much gets rid of most of this. There is still some of this, but not as much. Another con is the amount of space you have to sleep in. I have a short bed. If you have a long bed, it probably won't matter as much to you. But with the short bed, you basically only have as much space as you can fit in between those two wheel wells. I think it's about 4 feet in between the wheel wells. So that's about maybe a little bit bigger than a twin sized bed. So if you're trying to fit more than 3 people in there, it's kind of rough, doable, but rough. If you want to make that better, you can get something like a BAM's bed. I don't know, they're called the little sleeping platforms that you can put up there. You get a sleeping platform with an extender. They are like $800 or something like that, but you could probably build one, whatever. But you can make a sleeping platform, make it a lot more comfortable. You get a lot more space with the platform. But if you're just using it like how I'm using it, You basically only have as much space between the wheel wells to sleep in as you can make. And yeah, solo sleeping, fine. 2 people, it's okay. Once you add a kid in there, it is cramped. So the last con that I could think of doesn't even really have to do with the topper tent itself. It's more of the setup. If you're using a regular carpet line topper, you're good. Don't worry about this. But if you're using a GFC or any of the other kind of toppers that don't have a carpet liner and you have to use this adhesive Velcro, you want to get good Velcro. I was using the Amazon generic brand for a while, and the first couple nights I brought it out, they were good camping, and then I brought it home, let it sit in the sun for a couple days, and then when I left to work, looked in my rearview mirror, and my topper tent was half drooped down all the way, and then half barely hanging on. So I switched over to the actual Velcro brand, Extreme Outdoor, I think it is. And I haven't had any issues with it. There are a few spots where it's lifting just because it's been super hot lately. But you can usually just massage it back down and then it should be okay. So for the positives definitely outweigh the cons. The price of this unit, I think, is $300 on the website right now. Your best ground tent is gonna be $300 to maybe $500. That's like a Gazelle or something like that. And then you gotta buy a blow-up tent or a pad of some sort. And it has to be a good one because if there's rocks on the ground, then you have to get a good one. An RTT, the lowest price I've seen in an RTT, maybe used like $700-800, but usually the market is around a rack, $1,000 plus, and then you can get all the way up to $5,000 depending on what you're looking for. Price is very, very good. And then you have setup time. Setup time is pretty fast. I can get camp set up pretty quick. Just roll it down, buckle it up, throw a mat in there, throw some pillows, maybe like a blanket or two, and I'm good to go for the rest of the night. Pretty quick. I'd say setup time is around like 5-ish minutes for me. You could probably beat that with an RTT that already has all the stuff inside of it, but then we're talking about price and all the other stuff still. If you have an RTT, then good for you. Versus a ground tent, I think it's definitely faster to set up than a ground tent still. In the weight category, this probably only weighs about a pound or 2. You definitely can't tell it's there when it's rolled up. Versus a ground tent, probably the lightest tent I have right now is like 2 pounds or something like that, 3 pounds. So it's pretty comparable to this. But if you're bringing a big old Gazelle, we're talking like 10, 20, 30 pounds, depending on which one you have. An RTT, the lowest weight one I've seen is probably a GFC Superlight, and that is 67 pounds. The heaviest I've seen is upwards of 200. So in terms of weight, this definitely wins out. Another plus is it's kind of like an RTT where you're up off the ground, away from all the critters, all the bugs, all the mice, mouse, squirrels, whatever walks by your tent. You're up off the ground, away from them, and you're surrounded by 3 hard sides, which kind of makes you feel a little bit more snuggly inside. You don't feel as like exposed. The only part that's soft is obviously this side, but I mean, my head's on that side, so I feel pretty safe inside this thing. Another nice thing is, since it's up off the ground, you don't have to worry about rocks. You don't have to worry about getting super leveled, because you can just level out your truck and then your sleeping platform will be all good. With a ground tent, it kind of sucks because you have to find super level ground. If there's a bunch of rocks, you have to watch out for the rocks, dig out some rocks, make it flat, etc. So I kind of like this because it's kind of like an RTT without having all that weight up top. The topper is so sealed that not a lot of dust gets in here. So if I want to go out and explore, I can just leave whatever I have at camp, roll this up, toss it in, close the truck bed, and then get out, go wheeling, and then come back, reset it up, and then I don't even have to reset my bed up because it's still in there. So if you were thinking about buying one of these, I definitely would. It's super cheap, really easy to set up, and yeah, there's not really too much bad to say about this. It's actually Probably one of the better products I've ever seen. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concern with the topper tent, let me know in the comments. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. And yeah, if you're thinking about it, just go out and buy one. Peace.